Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. We're very grateful that you made it and you're present today. And before we start, just a quick announcement. Can you please have all phones on silent? And also, because of the camera direction, we'll need everyone who's going to speak, there is a panel, to speak as loud as possible. So you can shout if you can. Please feel free. All right. Today we're here for the Ayed campaign. Ayed stands for African Youth Entrepreneurship. I represent the YPIBI. That's youth. That's Young People in Business Initiative. Okay. Just a brief intro. The Ayed campaign commenced in Ghana, Accra. That is where you had the youth from every country in Africa meet up and speak about entrepreneurship development and moving on. So today we're gonna talk about the Ayed and how we wish for it to be a holiday. What we see is a day on the 2nd of June becoming a holiday, so that on the 2nd of June, everyone can just always look at entrepreneurship and celebrate that of young people in business. Okay, so first we just want to have Monica Ndlovu to introduce and speak briefly about the Ayed campaign.
Okay. Hi leaders, my name is Mordecai Ndlovu, and I'm here to basically be part of this very, very important day. It's the Ayed campaign, and we've been discussing it for a while now, and finally we got to a conclusion to make sure that this day takes flight from today on. So from my introduction, the Ayed campaign, as Utando has already elaborated, was established in August 14 in Accra, Ghana. I was one of the fortunate young people to present the campaign amongst different students from all across Africa, from West Africa, Southern Sub-Saharan Africa, and different parts of Africa. So the campaign seeks to basically create a culture of entrepreneurship amongst young people across the continent, and it seeks to redress this concept of changing our policies to support young people in the context of youth entrepreneurship. So the discussion is going to begin now, and everyone should, we hope that everyone is able to participate, and we are thankful that everyone here is youth focused, and that we're gonna make this a positive change. So as I conclude, I'm gonna leave it to Tando to give it to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ndlovu. Can you please just have everyone in the panel introduce themselves? So that is from that side coming.
Morning, my name is Bombi Roneo. I'm the secretary of JAMSA. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Bushinale. I run my own company called the Papaso Holdings.
Good day, leaders. My name is Gaisi Jamini, and I'm the secretary of UPB.
Good morning, guys. My name is Tembi Mandazi, and I'm the SRC of UT 2017.
My name is Belinda Krill. I am the Deputy Secretary of this region for PPF. I am also a zonal committee member for the ANC. I run my own business, and I am here to support the youth. So I'm always busy at VUT with all the youth structures.
Morning everyone. I'm Ms. Sima Jumaima from Uganda Management Institute. Uganda Management Institute is a training institute for public and private people in Uganda, especially, but we target mostly the government, but we also brought on board the private sector. And I'm glad to be here, especially for the entrepreneurship program, because in Uganda right now we have a crisis on have so many people who are educated, but too few jobs. So entrepreneurship would be a good idea. So it's a new thing.
Morning, colleagues. My name is Azande Radepenya. I come here wearing two hats. I am the Vaal University of Technology's Communications Officer, and I also represent Kasi Premier. We are an organization that focuses on township economic development. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Right now we're going to have Dom, who is going to represent the Young People in Business Initiative and speak briefly about that and how we're going to impact the community, the economy, and yeah. Dom, please.
Thank you very much, Saturday, and thank you very much for having me on this panel today. I would like to further elaborate on what Mordecai and Tanu has alluded on the Ayed campaign. So as Ayed and as UPB, we seek to equip and educate the youth on how to be risk takers, on how to actually take on entrepreneurship and make a living for themselves. We want to encourage the youth to participate and be self-administered when it comes to making a life and actually participating in entrepreneurship. Because we understand that in our country we are facing times wherein the unemployment rate is really high and where there is nobody who is there to save us but just us, the youth. And we understand that we need to empower our people. We need to let our people know on what is expected from them, on what they can actually do so they can actually do what will actually make them profitable at some point and will actually make them be visible in the corporate world, basically. Thank you.
Thank you, Dombe. Now we're going to have Mordecai Ndlovu to just speak about the radical economic transformation and just touch on that and how the youth will impact and where we go moving forward as the YP.
Yes. Leaders, today marks a very special day indeed, and in terms of the radical economic transformation document that has been put out, it stresses the need to ensure that that there's development in the context of youth in our country. So just to touch a little bit on the fourth industrial revolution that talks about this generational struggle. We are in a new generation now where technology is taking over, and it's important that we position ourselves as young people to be part of that movement. So as Africa, it is important that we take necessary steps and measures to make a change and to contribute in the continent. So I've said a little bit on what technology is, which is the topic of the fourth industrial revolution, and that's being ultimately in part with the radical economic transformation. So the Ayed campaign, I believe, has a very important mandate to achieve, and I believe that it aligns to the radical economic transformational policy that the ANC has also alluded on. So, and in terms of the Ayed campaign, I believe that there's still a lot that needs to be done, and we need to take this day as the first step towards radical economic transformation within the context of youth development. And yeah, I believe that this discussion will add more into it, and we'll discuss more in terms of what kind of programs can we align to the economic development and the development of youth in our country, in South Africa, and also in the continent at large. And I also hope that the AU, the youth charter that the AU also has created will also form part of the basis of how we develop the Ayed campaign. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we're gonna ask Ms. Asande Ralupenya to just touch on youth entrepreneurship and development.
All right, firstly, I'm a bit caught off guard because I thought maybe one main speaker will touch on something and then we open the discussion from there and questions will be asked back and forth, you know what I mean? So being put on the spot here, I'm not really sure, but I think I'll start with just talking about what we do as Gasipreneur. It's relatively new. We launched the first edition of Gasipreneur, I think, we had the third one last month in May. So that means the first one was launched in March. And the aim behind Gasipreneur is that we bring together a network, we develop a network of township entrepreneurs, both formal and informal. And monthly we meet and have two professionals or industry leaders who are experts in a particular industry or business, who can come back and feed knowledge into our business people, our community, our small business community. So one, we need to connect and network amongst each other. Two is we need to learn as much as we can so that we can put more into our businesses. And then three is also grow the economy in terms of providing jobs through the businesses that we have for young people. So when these experts come in, they come in and give us knowledge and they speak and they share and people ask questions. And not only that, but they also provide opportunities. In our last panel, we had Tami Manzi and we had Umwane Mtunzi from what do you call this? What's this organization? It's on the tip of my tongue, but I'm not. He's the president of I've lost it now. I've lost it. BMF. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It was there. He's the president of BMF, and what he did is he came in and he gave our entrepreneurs advice on how to tackle entrepreneurship, especially in the state of our economy right now. And not only did he do that, but he also provided opportunities for suppliers to go into the supply chain of one of the organizations that he's heading as a director. So you see, the reason why we have such organizations such as Gasipreneur is that we want to open the platforms for people to supply for larger organizations, to supply to each other, and to just grow the economy within townships, and to also provide training and expertise to those who need it. As we all know, youth unemployment is sitting at 27.7%. You know, and there's a lot of factors that influence this. It's not only it's because of the economy, the way it's sitting. It's because of the politics, education as well. You know, all of these come into play, and young people are now pushed to not go out of the higher education institution, having book knowledge and wanting to look for jobs, but now they are pushed to leave higher education institutions and start companies of their own, creating jobs. You know, I think that's important. But we need to also look at what type of services and products are we selling or are we providing? Because what I noticed is a lot of young people will go into will want to saturate one sort of sector. Like you'll find students, people who are interested in the entertainment industry and looking to start businesses there, you know, and they'll forget about agriculture, they'll forget about mining, they'll forget about the IT industry. You know, there's so many industries that they can look into and start businesses and network with other students or other people, young people. But we focus on one thing and we want to then oversaturate that market. So I think what we need to do is open open this platforms and open have a wider outlook and see what else we can look into, what other areas and venues can we look into, and stop having this one outlook and having just to say, okay, if Mordecai is doing entertainment, I also want to do entertainment. I want to start a business there, you know. I think we need to broaden out and start looking into agriculture. A lot of young people think that it's not fun, wearing boots and, you know, going out there onto the farm and feeding chickens and pigs and all that. They don't look at it as it's fun, but it's a source of income, you know, and you can create jobs from that. So we need to also look at other ventures and other opportunities that are around us. And it starts with networking, it starts with talking, it starts with reading, it starts with going out there and finding out more, not just being comfortable in your space. So we need to challenge our youth to start looking out there and taking the first step and taking a plunge and not being afraid, you know. I think we are afraid of asking questions, and we are afraid of taking risks, and that's what it is to be an entrepreneur. You take risks. You need to be bold and have a strong sense of belief in yourself first. So I think that's what we need to push more. Yeah, but that's all from me.
Thank you, Mr. Sandra. From what she just spoke about, I'd like to open a discussion. Now, she mentioned a couple of points on how the youth usually run to a certain field. So you see most of them running to entertainment, fashion. They forget the bigger industries. Okay, from that point, as the young people in business initiative, we believe in entrepreneurship being an art. So from that, I'd like to open this discussion. Is it a matter of the mind? So is it psychological that a lot of young people run to a certain field? How do we educate them to open up their perspective and view all these fields that are out there? How do we move and tackle that? I'd like to, this is a good discussion. Everyone feel free to answer.
Okay, let me start. I think, like you said, as young people, you believe as entrepreneurship as an art. I think that is the first problem, because not everybody is artistic, but anybody can do entrepreneurship. So it's not an art. It is just an idea. It's just a skill. It is, people are scared, and especially the youth. The youth has been told all the time, education, 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 which is very important. And that is why they go for all the degrees, but they're too scared to take a chance. All businesses start on a chance that you take, on an idea that comes up. And I think our whole thing with the youth is just creating maybe more avenues for them to be able to take that chance. And we have, with the young business people with Mordecai and so on, we've talked, we are busy with programs. We just need to, I say we talk too much sometimes, and the implementation is not always there. Rather than always sitting and discussing, we need to get implementation. We've spoken about programs. We have a program that we want to implement, as Mordecai touched on, changing policies. We want policies to be changed. We need to target the management, we need to target the government to get policies in place to get the youth opportunities. We want to make sure that to force opportunities for youth, because we've got in this country, 36% of all individuals are youth. So that's your biggest bracket. That starts from being babies to toddlers, to adolescents, to old people, to everybody. There's 36% youth. So that's your biggest category that you have. And we want, if we can have a policy change to say 30% of all industry must have youth. And if we can get the universities to force universities to give 30% of contracts to the students that studies there. If we can get government to give 30% of contracts in the towns and in the cities where there is big universities to the students that is studying there. Because our biggest problem for unemployment is the fact that you need experience. Nobody wants to employ anybody without experience. And that is why the youth is the biggest gap that does not have jobs. Because how do you get experience without getting a job? And how do you get a job without having experience? So if we can get universities to give that 30%, 30% can be in different ways. It can be a contractor on site must employ 30% of the people on that university. Or it must be 30% of that contract needs to be given to one of the students that created the company from that university. And in such a way, students will have experience when they leave. It is a big thing. It is not going to be easy, but I believe it's the only way that we're going to get the youth somewhere. We can't just always stand back and just hope something is going to happen. We need to also create our youth on campus to become job givers and not job seekers.
Yeah, just to add on what Kate Belinda talked about, it's I think leadership also in terms of PPF, those are some of the key missions in terms of policy address that I believe that this document needs to also get to. And I remember last year we sent a memorandum to the council about this topic of getting young people, especially students within every institution. They need to form part of the opportunities that are happening in the university. It's important that we start creating our universities as entrepreneurship universities. And I think that leadership that was also touched on more when we had the visit with the Premier a week ago, that universities need to be encouraged to support their students in the entrepreneurial nature. So this concept of the 30%, my leader, I believe it's very important, and I think that it needs to be championed in terms of universities. And if it starts here at Vaal University of Technology, at least we have started something that is going to really influence the change in terms of the whole continent. Yes. So I think it's important that we start discussing that, and I'm thankful that the SRC is here. And I remember we drafted that document was actually under his name that we sent the time he was the secretary of the structure, and I think he can add more into the advocation of young entrepreneurs and supporting young entrepreneurs in the university.
Thank you very much, Mr. Murikai. Just to dig in a bit, I'd like to challenge the current generation of young people. Like, let us be the history writers or history makers, just like the youth of 1976, which were fighting the language barriers and freedom, political freedoms and the likes. Because when we are sitting of knowledge that there is a department in the local government municipalities, the district municipalities, that deals with young people projects, which is called the Youth Directorship. So with that, I think us as young people, we have to go directly to the local government municipalities and address them and ask what is it that department is doing for young people in the region. What are they doing for us? What purpose is it achieving or seeking to achieve that department? Because since it was established, it's very quiet. I don't know whether it's politically motivated. Even if it is politically motivated, how is that benefiting young people in the region, because if you can check in the region, we have got many young people who are not employed. Some is because they did not get the privilege to go to varsities or to school to get educated, but still they still fall within the young people who are not employed. How do we then address that? How do we then equip them with education, with employment or entrepreneurship? These things, I think, to YPP, I just like to propose to you guys that can you also take this initiative from institutions to the locations, to the communities, where you address majority of the problems, because that's where you can eradicate the unemployment of young people if you start there. When it comes to the graduates, also IBP, please man, this program is very good, and I applaud you for that. What we need to do is to engage and educate these graduates that when you leave varsity, the purpose of you acquiring that qualification is not to go and seek for a job. If you can't seek for a job, or if you can't get a job while you are seeking, be the job creator. How do you do that? You must be a risk taker. You must understand what it means to be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur it means you are willing to take a risk. Not only a risk, but the idea that you want to take a risk with, it must go with passion. Because if you just take a risk without passion, that's where it's most likely going to fail. But with passion, it means you're going to give you everything. Dedication, time, and all the sacrifices that are needed. So with that, Mordecai, please also expand these kind of programs to reach even the communities.
Can I come back to a point that you raised about we need to address the students that hasn't studied. I still call them students. They're not students. The people that does not have the opportunity to go study, like the townships and the children that we find standing next to the robots and so on. We have addressed that in this program as well. We haven't talked now about the broader spectrum of the program, but we've said if we can get 30% for young people development into all contracts, these young people's businesses, we are going to put them again 30% into their business. You can only then get these contracts if you employ 30% of unskilled pupils standing next to and get a skill training program for students that cannot afford to study.
So I think, sorry if I know your hand was up, apologies. But I think we need to broaden the scope in the sense that you need to look at, I've done my own research around the path. We need to say, what is the size of the student economy? We've got 3 institutions, VT, Northwest, City College. So VT is sitting at about 17,000 students, if I'm mistaken. Northwest, maybe 8,000. City College, let's say 3,000. And the pool of that size, then you need to begin to look to say, on a monthly basis, how much money is going around Farabelle Park? Either be it accommodation, be it food, be it transportation. Once you begin to zoom in, then you realize that there is close to 100 million that's circulating in this economy, in Farabelle Park, largely through the student economy. I mean, accommodation of 17,000 people, average 1.2 a month. If you multiply that by 17,000, the numbers will begin to talk. What to eat, what to dress, and you buy from retailers. So instead of only focusing only on what's inside, contractors and all those things, there are other avenues that you can begin to unpack and see that the market is it's huge. I mean, the clothes that the students wear, who's designing them? Where are they being manufactured? So those are issues that can we get a young student designer to begin to manufacture clothing labels for students or sneakers, all those things. So those are the ideas that when we look at the problem, we must come up with solutions. And we must go through details and try to dig up until we find opportunities like that. The other issue is I was a student here before you changed the name. It was Baltec at that time. But you look at the curriculum to say, is it entrepreneurship being introduced in other fields? If you're an engineer, can you be given a 6 months entrepreneurial course? Whether you pass it or not is another debate. But at least to be exposed to, after graduating, instead of you sending your CV, can you start your own company? So these are the debates that when we think of radical economic transformation, I heard Mordecai touching on radical economic transformation. For me, let's localize it, radical economic transformation. When you begin to talking about procurement, institutional procurement, you mentioned 30%, but the 30%, how can it develop the youth, not only the youth in campus, but the youth also outside the campus? Municipalities, how do they procure goods that are manufactured by youth or supplied by youth? So those are the debates that I think we need to unpack in a much broader scope. And remember, you're not only focusing on this region or in this country, you're talking to the youth outside this country. So your experience is to say, if you go to Uganda, University of Uganda, how can we copy what they are doing there? Is it working for them or is it not working? Maybe you can give us insights on the continent. What are the insights from the continent?
In Uganda, what I'm basically doing, we have a program under the Ministry of Youth and Gender. What they're doing is they give funds to youth that have an idea. So you bring your proposal, business proposal, and they fund based on that. At least that's what the government is doing right now. I think that's what they're doing right now. What else are they doing? We've got African Development Bank as well. As long as the youth have an idea, they go through it, you go through a panel, they can also fund whatever idea that they have. Actually, I had a question on, because I was asking, what are you doing about deposits? One thing to have an idea, but we realize that most of the youth don't have the funds. So what happens if I have an idea and I can't fund the idea? Do you have programs in place where you can fund the youth? Because we realize that most of them don't have the funds, but they could have the idea. So do you have something in place to make sure that they can actually materialize whatever that they have?
The other thing is, we need to look at having a student free market, Saturdays, to stimulate growth or interest. Saturdays, I drive past here, it's football and other things that are going there. But if we can, from this forum, to say, let's initiate a student free market where if there is one person who does head reps, you can exhibit your products to your fellow students. Either it be main res or it be somewhere else. But then you begin to say, we're implementing the idea that it's on paper, we're bringing it to life.
Sorry. Can I just add on something? I'm a student at the university. I'm currently the tech and cost accounting. I think the biggest thing that I've seen is that even though I did accounting from first year until third year and now I'm doing my fourth year, I think the policy or the system it's been created in a way that you are not being opened, you are only channeled to do certain things. Because I was introduced to this program by a Mordecai that there are some products, hence I'm dealing with money. But I was not educated to how to make money for myself, but to go and manage the books of another company. So the question is, the programs that are available, are they able to connect with students in the institution to make them aware that entrepreneurship is the more key than going to generate money for another person or another company? Yes, students are scared to take risks. Even I am scared, but right now I think already I will be able to because of this program. But the question is, are we able to touch those students who are unaware of entrepreneurship in different corners of the institution before we can go outside there and deal with them? Are we able to introduce or talk with them in the institution and make the management aware of such things, of this kind of program? Are they willing to compile with us now?
You see, that is something that I also want to bring up. Like you are asking me the question, you guys are students at this campus. It is difficult for people from outside to come and facilitate this. You need to speak to the management. You need to form your organizations. You need to, from there, through leaderships, get them into meetings. Start getting something to be implemented. I know how Bishi also said, we must remember when we speak about youth, it's not inside the campuses. There is many youth outside the campuses, and we're not focusing on our region, but we are focusing on everywhere. And I think that's the problem we make sometimes, is there's a problem and we want to fix the whole world. We can't do that. It is too much work, and that's when you get, how can I say, that's when you see it as a too big a problem, and you can't live up to that. Nobody can live up to changing the world. So if we can start something small, if we focus where we are, if we focus with the group we are, we can start something with a snowball effect. So try not to change everything. Try and sit and focus here where we are. Change where I think where he started up with maybe a flea market. This is a good idea, and this is so easy to implement. The leadership goes, ask for permission and start giving this out. As soon as other students, like he is asking, how are we going to target the other students? As soon as they start seeing this, everybody starts thinking, what can I add to this? And as soon as you start, what can I add to this? This is when ideas become broader. But this is a very important thing, as to students need to learn how to implement rather than sit and discuss this. Because we can discuss it, we can deliver memorandum, we can do all this, but if there is no implementation of the program, same as this, I didn't even know about the department for the youth at the municipality. They start there. So I think what we need to do is channel this, make a list, and then go to implementation and decide how we're going to implement these, and stop for the discussions.
Yeah.
But this is very important. If through what we are doing here, get the other students involved, we can form a big meeting. Maybe we must go forward to that and see if we can do a bigger meeting next time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think also, sorry, I'm cutting you. Sorry.
I've always been meaning to say this, but I'm tempted to say he's been copying my notes. Because he stated all the things that I wanted to talk about. On campus, let me just make an example of this campus because it's school here. We have a bunch of entrepreneurs, we have a bunch of people who have identified the opportunities out there. But their biggest problem is that they lack resources, they lack capital, they lack people that can actually turn their dreams into life. They lack those people that can give them the skills of how to manage their businesses. So what I'm trying to put out here is that as this platform, as us here, we need to stand up and try and challenge the management and challenge the people that make the policies, that whatever that they are doing up there, they're not doing it right. They must now start putting the skills on the ground. They must now start teaching us as the youth as to how we can actually develop ourselves better. Because one thing that I've realized is that we have a lot of people that are starting small businesses out there. We have a lot of people that are starting entrepreneurs, but they do not last for a year because these people, they lack support. These people, they lack more resources. So if we can have the management, or if I may say, to support the entrepreneurs that are on campus. For example, there are people who do branding on campus, but the management, instead of using those people, they go out there and source other people and to come and supply us. Hence, we have our own entrepreneurs who can actually supply the university. We need the university to take a stand and start supporting our people that are on campus, that are being taught here on how to run businesses, that are being taught here on how to make a living, to be supported by the very management that we're schooling here, so that we may stop walking out of those universities with certificates and start writing service. We need this university to give us references to bigger companies because we have been working with them since we started our own businesses, and we have accumulated enough knowledge and skills to run the businesses that we have started.
Colleagues, I don't mean to be management on my response, but also processes and protocols has to be observed. Because you see, when you start speaking about giving business to students or young people, everything that has to do with funds, it has to be audited. Every transaction that you have to do, it has to be audited. So the advice we need to give to students is that they must also understand the procurement procedures. How does one benefit from the institution? You have to follow the procurement. How do you get to follow the procurement? You have to be in the database of the institution. What we have to do, we have to advise these young business entrepreneurs around the institution to get their businesses registered into the database of the institution. If their businesses are in the database, it's simple for us as leadership of students here as the SRC to direct and divert the business from going outside, channeling it inside. Because the business of the student is within the database. When the institution is audited, there won't be any corruption or any corrupt activity done because the procedures were followed. The student deserved. What do? We are promoting or at least establishing our own students within the institution. That's what we need to do. Also, this student must also know that for you to be heard, you don't necessarily need to go out and say. The office of the SRC is open for everyone, for every idea that you have. Come with your idea. Let us advance it together with you, not only us. Because sometimes you will think that as SRC, when you give us your idea, we're going to steal it. We're not going to do that. You give us your idea, we go hand in hand together with you. Open necessary meetings, open necessary channels for you, so that we can advance and progress. Also, just to give information to the House. As the SRC, at the beginning of the year, we sat with the management and we engaged and we fought robustly to make sure that students benefit. The priority was on graduation ceremonies. We used to see that during graduation ceremonies, you see the institution outsourcing photographers, outsourcing graduation gowns. And we said, we have got the Department of Fine Art, the K-Block, where they are teaching students photography. What do we offer that if we can't give them a chance to do photography during graduation ceremonies? Indeed, the institution listen. If you can witness or at least bear testimony, the past graduations, it was students who were offering photography services there. From that step, we are going to the one of graduation gowns. So we want our own fashion students who are establishing the K-Block to design those gowns, hire them, and self-empower themselves. If there are other departments, there are other students who wish to advance their own businesses, their own ideas, they must feel free to come to our offices. We are there for them, we are there to advance their own issues, not only to advance political issues or entertainment or entertainment. Anything that has to do with establishing a young black diamond to shine, we are there for you guys. Come to our office, we'll advance and assist you with both ends without even any compromise or hesitation.
Thank you very much. You know, it's a good thing, and I think it's a privilege that we have you as the leadership here on this panel. And I have one just simple question as that will advance on what he said earlier. What is it that you are doing as the leadership of the students to try and advance the skill, to try and advance the nature of entrepreneurship in the campus, because you've seen that there are a whole lot of students out there that are entrepreneurs, but they're not getting the platforms, or rather say the equally support that they need to advance their businesses and make them to be existent as possible.
As Mordecai has mentioned, the document of the 30% beneficiaries to students, we drafted it together and it's still in process. With that, we're not only focusing on young people but also students, because the main purpose or the main objective was to establish students within the institution, those who are registered in VUT. With that, what we need to do actually is that students must not expect us to sangomize to say, these students have got businesses, what do they do? They must equally come to us and tell us, this is what we have. Please, leadership, assist us. Then we'll take it from there, because I see you selling muffins there. I don't know whether it's just an exercise to say you want to make petty cake so that we can have something to eat, or it's a business idea that you want to see it growing one day. How do I then do? I will come to you, or you should come to me and say, leadership, this is what I have. This is a vision I have, but because of these obstacles, what do we then do? Then we'll take it from there. Because if you need funds, you tell us. Then we'll see how best to assist as the leadership, because there are many departments that have got coffers to assist where needs be. But without us knowing what is needed, what is expected from us, you can't expect us to go after 17,000 students asking, what do you have in mind? What do you have in mind? Really, we are only 16 in the office. So it's fair that you come to us. Then we'll take it from there.
I think that is a fair point. I think a lot of time the problem with the students is self-inflicted. Students like to sit back and they want you to come and do their stuff for them. That is the mindset we need to change. Is if you want business and you want to work, and entrepreneurship is getting up and doing something about it. With being in the database and so on, we thought of changing the idea more and creating an NPO on campus, where every single student, but they know that when they get here, and this will be made broader to other universities, creating an NPO, and then all students come and list their student businesses at the NPO. And the universities needs to go to the NPO and say, if we have a catering contract, the NPO will go through the database, seeing what catering companies there is, and give everybody a chance to tender. This is educating them on tender processes, educating, but an NPO needs to be created with a leadership creating that to get out, so that there is no corruption, no businesses being taken advantage of, so that the same company doesn't get the contracts all of the time. So you need somebody to work and to handle the NPO that you know is not from campus.
I have some, from the talks I've been picking, I'm noticing that coming from the management perspective, then I'm realizing that yes, we could give the students the funds to run whatever ideas they have, but we also need to look at the long term. How do we maintain whatever ideas they have? So like he said, yes, there could be suppliers in the university and blah, 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 but these students, they want to know the requirements, for example, to get pre-qualified into the university. So what I'm realizing is we also need to train them on how to maintain whatever idea that they have set up. So we need to teach them how to manage whatever idea that they have in place when it's established. How do they make sure that they maintain it through? Like we realize that, of course, research shows that within 2 years, most people start businesses, they fall within the 2 years. So how do we make sure that they go past the 2 years basket?
Just to add to what you are saying, I think the importance of this campaign is to also to create. We need to basically create. Or how can I put it? We need to create a sort of a manifesto, if I may call it, a manifesto that will outline what this campaign seeks to do. Because this is, even though this is this Edsu-Ayed campaign, Africa Youth Entrepreneurship Day campaign, is to sort of have a day that is celebrating young entrepreneurs. But in essence, what it seeks to do is to promote entrepreneurship in terms of the youth in the continent, and it also seeks to come up with strategies that can be implemented in different policies across Africa, across South Africa and and the whole continent at large. So with what you are saying, Mama, I think it's very important that we create a process, a document that will outline what are the supporting measures that this campaign can bring and support in any government institution, any government in any country in the continent, and also how can it be implemented in any part of the institution, in private sector or the public sector. So from this discussion on, I believe that these are some of the things that we need to put in our resolutions, because this is the first Ayed dialogue that we are having in such a format where it's based in a student setting. So we really need to consider those kind of parts when discussing all of this. And I think that after this discussion, the next resolution moving on forward, will be able to, address some of these issues that Umar was also talking about.
As part of the resolution, I would like to add that if it's possible, can you at least try to establish monthly entrepreneurial seminars, where in those seminars, the objective or the purpose is to identify upcoming entrepreneurs, teach them processes, requirements that is required. So in that seminar, you are able to equip them, you are able to identify, you are able to mentor them and modify them so that they can become better entrepreneurs, not only within the institution, but also when they go outside the institution. Because the whole vision of this is not only to make entrepreneurs within, but even outside. Because the whole purpose is to eradicate youth unemployment. Then if we have entrepreneurs starting from the institution, when they go outside, they must also make an impact in the economy, in the communities. But then how do we then identify them? The seminars should be one of the solutions to identify these young minds, young brilliant minds that we have in the institution. So we move them from their comfort zone to say, here I came to get a qualification. After a qualification, what do I do? I must go seek for employment. I must work for a certain company for a certain number of years, make this investment, and buy a big house, this and that. We must also try to establish so that they become comfortable in taking risks. To say, for me to be a successful entrepreneur, what do I need to do? How do I take it? What are the challenges am I going to face? Then this is what the seminars should be addressing, that if you decide to take a risk, be expected of 1, 2, 3. How do you then achieve or this way, but it's fine. Like, I mean, how do you then overcome these challenges for your business to become a success? Because for you to become successful, you have to go through challenges. These challenges not necessarily a must, but they are there. First of all, I've identified some of the challenges, which is if you are a career person and you want to take a risk on something, on an idea that you've got a passion in, you must understand at some point in time, you will have to take a decision to say, do you advance the idea, or you want to continue with your career? Because if you want to advance the idea and be successful, you will have to decide one. It's one of the things that you must understand. The second one is the issue of finance. How do you then finance the business? Because people who are already in the industry, they know the challenges of a new entrepreneur. Some might not even be willing to finance your business. How do you then try to source funds yourself for your business to become a success? Another one is the issue of team building. For you to become a successful entrepreneur, you need to have team building skills. Where do you get that? Because when you are starting a business, you must be able to identify a strong team that will be able to advance and make the business idea a success. You must also have those characteristics and skills for you to become a successful entrepreneur skills. Another issue you must understand, as an entrepreneur or a vision owner, you must understand that if your business idea or your new business faces challenges, everyone will be looking at you to come with new ideas in terms of how do you move from this challenge to the next step, how do you advance and overcome these challenges. All these things will become a burden of you as the vision owner. You must understand that, and you must be willing to take all these things head on. The issue also is dealing with the unknown. What is the unknown? How long will this business last? Or how long will the business exist? Will the customer or the target market that I'm targeting like my product? How much profit am I going to make? These are the things that when you go to entrepreneurship, you go not knowing but hoping for the best. So you must understand that these are part of the challenges. Of course, some they speak of loneliness to say you left less time with your loved ones because you mainly invest majority of your time in your idea for it to become a success. Also, you must understand, if you start a business with your friend, there will be a point where you have to make rules that will have to govern your business. And in those rules, friendships aside, because the main purpose is for the business to become a success. Lastly, which is decision making. You must be bold enough and brave to take decisions, even if it's unpopular, but if it's for the best interest of your business idea, you have to make a decision. You must understand those challenges and be able to deal with issues, and with that you will become a successful entrepreneur.
Just to add a little bit on the problem of empowering our youth with regards to entrepreneurship, I think it should be also be known to us as the people that are going to be hosting this program that it shouldn't be a program that is going to be based on the theory part, but it should also be practical and relevant. Why am I saying so? Because we can feed these people with all the information that they need to know, but if we do not provide them a platform to practice what we're actually telling them, and then it's going to be null and void. So to have this program to be a success, I think we should conjunction it with the event we was talking about, like having those weekend things of having the entrepreneurs to come and showcase what they can actually do, so people can get the motive on why I should actually partake on this, because there is an outcome at the end of the day.
Just to add more bit on what she's saying, what I know about entrepreneurship is being innovative. He was talking about that if all entrepreneurs decide to go into entertainment, I think that is okay. But the big question now is, how different are you from this other person who's in the entertainment business? So the key about entrepreneurship is, yes, you could be in the same market, but what are you doing differently? So what she's saying is, how do you know that someone's doing differently? You could set it in your program, you could allow the students to come up with ideas and then see what this person is doing new in the market. Are they replicating what someone is doing? Or is there something new they're bringing onto board? Because that's what I believe entrepreneurship is about. It's about what new thing are you bringing to the market. It could be the same industry, but what new thing are you doing? What are you bringing on board? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I would just like to briefly open a brief point of discussion. Okay, now is entrepreneurship is in the mind. We have in South Africa we lack the entrepreneurial culture. Now, what do you as the panel think of the entrepreneurship culture of South Africa, and how do we now address the mental problems facing entrepreneurship? These problems are those from our families. Now, as a student and as an entrepreneur, we face a lot of our parents do not know entrepreneurship. They know working. They are told to go be a fireman, be a police, be a doctor, but you are not taught to be an entrepreneur. Now you get to school, and at school you are given skills to go and work for a person. They do not teach you entrepreneurship. They teach you accounting. Now, accounting is not entrepreneurship. It's not financial education. It's studying books to go and work someone else's books, help them push their dreams forward. Now, as the panel, I would like you to discuss this. How do we tackle the mental problems facing entrepreneurship and the entrepreneurship culture in South Africa?
Let's start. Leaders, I think how are we going to tackle this this, what can we call it, this social ill, if I may call it, is that we need to now conscientize ourselves in terms of how do we work as people of Africa. It's very important that we start to think about collaborative networking as a way of changing our society, and that's why this campaign is so important. It's here to basically connecting the dots. It's here to ensure that we start putting the necessary discussions amongst each other, from young people and everyone across the country, from private to public to communities to townships to villages, to discuss that how can we now, guys, as ordinary citizens, take the responsibility to change our country. So it's important. This campaign it's an awareness strategy. We could call it an awareness strategy, a discussion point where we need to now start discussing how do we, as ordinary members, say that we want to see a better standard of living in our countries. And the only way we can do that is that we need to. It's clear that youth development is the most important part that we need to play, and that is through the solution of entrepreneurship. So this Ayed campaign is the first starting. I believe it's a ground level starting point where we can plant it across different parts of the country, different parts of the continent, and say this is what we are saying now. How do we form collaborative partnerships in different parts and to bring about a change? And the only way we can do that is first support, because we've realized that young entrepreneurs are not supported, and that is simple enough. You can see in the institutional level. You know, you'll graduate and you'll still have to go look for a job, but you could have been an opportunity to the university and added your services in the university. So policies such as the 30% policies will be the first direct change that will affect, you know, how we influence the support measures in regards to young people. So I believe we're already there. This is the first starting point. We need to come up with a resolution from this meeting on. We need to come up with a steering committee, and I hope that everyone that is sitting here on the panel of this discussion is going to form part of that steering committee that will discuss how do we take now all these discussions and all these points that we have here and put them in the documents that can now viral across different parts of government departments, to say this is what we've seen as young people, as representatives of young people, to say that these are the strategies, and we hope that can you support us in these measures moving on forward. So this is I think this is the first step. This is the first strategy in moving towards creating a change in terms of youth entrepreneurship in our country, in our university. As our leader Bash also was saying, that localizing coming up with this localized procurement strategy in regards to young people. We need to start, you know, discussing that. So we need to start starting from where we are, which is VUT. This is where we need to begin, and then take it out to the world. So I think we've already discussed a lot of points, and in a discussion document, I think we can transform all that we've discussed here and make it into a document that can really, you know, shake grounds in different places in our continent.
I just want to add a point as well. Every time everybody says, okay, yes, let's see, but you have to be able to continue after you finished at the university, so skills to go forward. I believe if we can get this program going, the 30%, it is in assistance. We keep talking about funding. As soon as you come with funding and money, people get scared, they want to stand back. I don't think funding is the most important role in this. I believe when we come with initiatives, and if we can get the support with the program like we want with the 30%, it will make things easier. It is a different kind of a support, because here now you get the skills development, you get the experience. You, even if you get contracts like construction workers, your CBID, no, yes, your level, you need your level grows as you have contracts. So if we get the support here, it's just making it easier going on. The 2 years won't feel that easy, because as soon as you go out of the university, you already have those years experience. You can already prove to people, these are the contracts that I've did, this is the work I've done. So your experience you get while you're studying. And that will just give us, that is not like teaching a skill to continue, but that is just giving the groundworks, and you'll most likely continue easier after that. And if we can get the support here, your funding will also be easier, because you will get funding. Maybe all we need here is, we need to, like he said, maybe challenge the curriculum as well a little bit, where we are being taught in doing the certain job, maybe just in the curriculum, add a little bit to also, okay, but if you don't want to create the job, but you want to create the business of this that you are studying, what is this, what is it then that you have to do? And then a very important thing, and I must raise this as a raised issue, and like he said, that people has, that they were taught to do a job. Money management is a first thing with students and young people. If they get the money in the pocket, the idea is, yes, now I can buy a Gucci shirt, and I can have the fancy car, and that is where we have our problem with students. Is the funding that the money that they are generating, they must use for funding going forward, not for buying fancy stuff. We need to change also. A huge thing with the students is, yes, but check, I've got Nikes, and you only wear Adidas, or that's the thing. Is if we teach our students that you just need to wear a jacket, it doesn't need to have a name on it. It's there to give you heat, not to give you, not to get you a girl. That is the idea. Because a 2,000 rand jacket and a 200 rand jacket is going to give you the same thing, but with 2,000, you've got 1,800 where you could have spent it on your business. And that is why people always go back, and I don't want to give you funding, because what are you going to do with it?
Just on what you're saying about curriculum, I think that was what I had at the beginning, because you talked about parents tell us you have to go to school, study, and then get a job. So where does it all start from? The mindset. So are you going to wait for someone until they're in university and then you tell them about entrepreneurship? What if someone drops off before they get to university? What are they going to do? So I think, like she said, we need to look at our curriculum, not only at university, but maybe from primary school. At least I know what the Ghanaian government is doing. They're introducing entrepreneurship all the way from primary school, such that even if someone drops off along the way, at least they know something about entrepreneurship, other than waiting for when the person is at university to start thinking of what they're going to do. So I think we need to look at our curriculum all the way from primary school, secondary school, not wait until someone's at university, then you tell them, oh, you need to learn entrepreneurship skills. So I think that's the beginning, to change the mindset. Yeah.
To add on that, okay, where I come from, the problem is started from the secondary level. Where I'm sitting, I've got a certificate of that problem, where I got it when I was in grade 10, if not grade 11, of entrepreneurship. Because of one, we understand that it's not everyone who has a qualification who's going to get employment. What do you then do? We're trying to check other avenues to say, if you don't get employment, what do you then do? Become yourself employed. What we did in that program, they teach you financial management, as you said, also how to attract customers, how to sustain your business, how to sell your idea to other people. And then the problem we are having, I think, in this current juncture of young people, is that if I become an entrepreneur, how fast will I make money for myself? That is the problem we're having, the mindset we have. We must change it to say, the first thing which must come in mind is that, how do I sustain my business for the long run? The issue of saying I'm going to make business for myself should be the last in your mind. How do I sustain my business? How do I sustain my market target? How do I sustain my employees so that the business can run for a long time? Because the problem is that I started business. It means if I get funding or I invest 20,000, I expect 20,000 in 2 or 3 months to be 40,000, which is not possible. That's why most of the business are failing. So we need to shape the mind of young entrepreneurs to say, making money, quick money doesn't last. It's in everywhere. Quick money doesn't last. Else you find a person, when someone gives me 20,000, because I was given, it came quick. I did not even sweat for it. I don't mind going to buy a jacket of 10,000 because I did not sweat for the money. But if it's a business that at least I nurtured for 10 to 20 years, that 10,000 for me to misuse it is going to be a problem, because I don't know how long it's going to take me to make another 10,000, 20,000. So we need to shape the mind of young entrepreneurs in that perspective.
I think the biggest problems amongst the issue, it's mentality. The mentality slaveness of African people. That is the biggest issue. So if we can win the mentality of these small students, it means we can win out there. So I think the program that has been started, I think we should not focus on generating the ideas, we have to equip financial managers. Because if you are a financial manager and then you are an entrepreneur, it means your business can last. The biggest problem is that people are getting there to be entrepreneurs with great ideas, but they are not financially stable and financial minded. So that is the biggest problem when you go out there without the knowledge of financial. How do you handle your financial issues? So I think that one is the most idea of the entrepreneur as a whole. Because if you have financial idea, it means everything will last. I think so.
I think another thing that can actually help us is that we need to challenge our youth. We need to challenge ourselves as the youth out there, that if I want to survive, what is it that I have to do? And if I do something, I don't have to do it because I want to impress TV. I don't have to do something because I want to live that life. We need to learn as the youth that when you do something, we actually want to bring change to the community. We want to provide to a need that is not being satisfied out there. So we can try to avoid people who go into entrepreneurship. So we can try to avoid people who go to businesses because they want to have fancy lives, because they want to look as if they are better people. It shouldn't be about that when people go to entrepreneurship. We need to put that into the mindsets of the young people out there, that if you want to be an entrepreneur, it shouldn't be about the materialistic things. It should be about focusing on establishing and providing to the needs that are not satisfied out there in the market.
In conclusion, I think we've talked about a lot in terms of the Ayed campaign, and I think we've reached a lot of points that we can take from this discussion. And just in closing, I just want to say that the Ayed campaign is not only just a day, but it's a 365-day responsibility for all of us. And I believe that on the 3rd of June every year, we'll be lighting this concept. It will be alive everywhere in the continent, not just here in VUT, but in Accra, in Nigeria, in Kenya, in Uganda, in all the past, Morocco, I mean Egypt, all these places, and we've just taken the first step. So we hope that people that are going to be viewing this discussion are going to take it as a responsibility on themselves to also, form part of this agenda and really contribute in the changes that need to happen in our continent. Young people, the unemployment rate is rising, and we the ones that need to make sure that it changes, that Africa becomes a better place for the African child, that we really change our society. So it starts here, and I'm looking forward to see what this program is going to do. And the resolutions of this document, of this day, are going to be well documented. We're going to make sure that everyone out there in the continent is gonna form part of this. And I hope that all the leaders that are sitting here also know that they have a mammoth task ahead of them to make sure that this campaign is realized across the continent. So on my part, as part of the organizing committee, I want to thank all the structures. I want to thank Utando as the MC of the day. I want to thank leadership from GEMSA, which is the Graduates Empowerment Movement of South Africa. They also have a great responsibility in this structure. I want to thank Uba Bupeshi for joining us from the company. I'm just going to mention that his company is the Pase Holdings. And the Papas Holdings. Show my leader. And then Ngizobonga leadership Uswazi from Young People in Business Secretary of the branch of VUT. I also want to thank Tembi, who is the SRC of VUT, and I also want to thank the leadership, Keda Belinda, who's the regional secretary, deputy secretary of PPF, and I want to thank our special guest also, all the way from Uganda, leadership here, leadership.
Nisi.
So, Nisi
Majimani.
Nisi Majimani.
Yes.
Okay, this Umama is Nisi Majimani from Uganda. And you see, now this African concept now is coming, it's emerging. Yes, we're coming from South Africa, but now we are meeting other people that are going to form part of this strategy that needs to be aligned in the continent. So one person is not here, Wazande from the Gassipreneur, but leaders, I want to thank you so much for forming part of this. I know you are all very busy with different parts, student issues, also government issues.
For everybody that's watching, maybe you must also give some contact details or whatever for anybody that wants to come on board to form part of it, where to find you. Yes.
Okay, my leaders, if you are watching this and you want to form part of this campaign, you can of course go to our website, the Young People in Business website. It's www.pibi.org.za. That's where you can find us, or you can just email us. I think our Gmail account is info.ypibi1@gmail.com. So you can send your comments, you can send your inputs, and we'll definitely be in contact with you. We hope that young people everywhere in South Africa are going to form part of this Ayed campaign, Ayed rally, and also people from outside of the continent too. So yeah, I think in closure we can say it's a closure. And thank you so much for everyone.